Hello and welcome back to my beginner jazz theory series. So jazz standards are typically in a 32 bar form, and one of the most common ones is the AABA form, and it's used often in American songbook standards, especially standards like On the Sunny Side of the Street, Have You Met Miss Jones, Polka Dots and Moonbeams, and of course Rhythm Changes and I've Never Been in Love Before, which is the tune that we'll be taking a look at today. With that, let's take a look at the harmony. As you guys can see, I didn't put the melody in just so that we don't get distracted and we can kind of see the form a little bit better. So to start off, we've got our 1-6-2-5. That's a pretty common chord progression that we have in jazz music. So there we go, 1-6-2-5. And next up, we've got our spicy little 4 dominant over here. That's just to help the harmony move forward, and it sounds really good, especially E flat going to D minor 7. That's kind of reminiscent of our tritone sub that we talked about in another video. All right, so we got our 3, then we got our 6, going to our 2, 5, and we're expecting to put a 1 there, but instead of a 1, I'm gonna put a 3 and a 6. Since 3-6-2-5, that's a great turnaround to bring us back to the B flat without it feeling finalized, because that's not what we want since we're in the middle of the tune. So let's put that in. Excellent. So now we've got our turnaround, and that turnaround is going to take us to the next A. So as you guys can see, the next A is exactly the same as the first A, except that the ending does resolve in the B flat major chord, the B flat major 7, and it's gonna do a turnaround to the bridge. So typically in bridges, we go to a special chord, probably the 4. It really helps push the music forward. So in this tune, we're gonna go to the 4. So let's do a turnaround to the 4 chord. So you guys can feel free to pause the video and try to guess which 2-5 I'm gonna put in. Excellent. Now that we've finished our first 2 A's, we're gonna move down. We've got our turnaround to the bridge. We're gonna head down. So we can see our next 16 bars. We've got our B, and then we've got our A. So let's take a look at the B first. So this is what we typically call the bridge of the tune, since it's the only different part really, because it's A, B, A again. We've got our 4 chord, E flat major 7. So we're gonna do a little quick turnaround going into the B flat major 7. So let's give it a C minor 7 and an F7. Awesome, and that's just helping us lead forward into the next chord, which is B flat major 7. So we're gonna do that again. So we're gonna take a look at the chord that's coming next, so G minor, and we wanna do a 2-5 going towards G minor. Since this is a minor chord, we're gonna use a minor 2-5, which is essentially the same, but there's a little bit of a difference. So let's take a look. We're gonna add a A minor 7 flat 5, so a half diminished. That's awesome. All right, and then we're gonna add our D7 flat 9, and the flat 9 is just to help voice lead a little bit better. We'll talk about voice leading in another video coming up soon. All right. So now that we've got our 2-5 leading into our G minor, and we can see that we've got our G minor 7 over F. Basically what that means, it's the same chord, but we've got the 7th now as a note, and it's gonna be on the root. Just to help with voice leading, so it's going G, F, and we're gonna do a quick 2-5 going towards the D major 7. The D major 7 comes from the 3. All right, so let's put in our 2-5s. We're gonna put our E minor 7, and we're gonna put our A7. Excellent, and they're both headed towards their D major 7. And once again, we're gonna do a turnaround back to the A section, just to help the harmony move forward. C minor 7, and then we're gonna do F7, and F7 is gonna bring us back to our B flat. So now we're tonicized back in B flat for our last A section, for our last 8 bars. And as you guys can see, it's very similar, in fact exactly the same as the other A's, except now that we conclude our melody and our harmony by ending on the root chord, and then we're gonna do a turnaround to the top of the tune so we can take some solos. Let's put them in. C minor 7. Since we're headed back to B flat, we're just gonna do a normal B flat turnaround. There we go. Okay, and we're back. We'll be taking a look at our next 32 bar form, ABAC. It's also known as A open and A closed. And some examples of standards like this is On Green Dolphin Street, There Will Never Be Another You, and of course, Just Friends. So as you guys can see, I already laid out the harmony for us. We won't be analyzing this one. We'll just be skimming through and adding some turnarounds as we go. We already have our A section. As you guys can tell, the A section and the B section are pretty different. It kind of gives us this whole 16 bar form instead of 2 similar 8 bar forms. So already it's a lot different than AABA. So let's just add the turnaround here. Alright, so with that we've got our 2 and 5 headed towards C major. The C major isn't actually our 1 chord. It is our 4 chord, and this tune starts on our 4 chord. The G major 7 is our 1. Sorry I didn't put the key signature up. I just wanted to make a quick example of a 32 bar form. So here's the first 16 bars. We're gonna scroll down and take a look at the next 16 bars. Alright, so in this section you can see that this A is the same thing as the first A, but instead of AB we now have AC. So C is a lot more different than the B was, and the reason why is because the B section was open in a way, so it leads us back to the next A. But with the C section, we want to make sure it's closed and the form ends so that we can start to solo. So we've got our first A section, now we got our C. It looks like something's missing here, so we're gonna add a turnaround to E minor 7. So we're gonna add a 2-5. So that would be an F sharp. And since it's a minor 2-5, we're gonna add a flat 5. And we're gonna add a B7 flat 9 for voice leading purposes. And that's gonna sound great right before the E minor 7. And that E minor 7 is actually leading us into the A7, and then into a 2-5, and then back to 1. So this is our 1 for Just Friends. It's our G6. And we're gonna add the last turnaround so that we can go back to the top of the tune and solo once more. So let's add that in. So as you guys can see, I've added a different turnaround. We're going back to the 4 just because the tune starts on the 4 and we want everything to voice lead correctly. If we were to give a 2-5 to G, it wouldn't make much harmonic sense since the top of the form is going back to C major 7. Alright, so I hope that explains everything for you guys. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.